Hey everybody, welcome to week 1 of fantasy football. Very excited for this week. A lot of good stuff happening. Put together a video with Chase covering the matchups. Now I have to apologize in advance. Apparently my lowly laptop can't handle 60 frames per second recording. So the audio works just fine, but the video stutters and really just kind of it's just still frames throughout. Basically, it's like halfway through the video it starts working, but the audio is there. So we discuss the matchups, and I will keep working on this, and the next video hopefully will work a little better. So, all right, hope you guys enjoy. Have a good evening. Have fun watching football tomorrow if you watch, and talk to you later. All right, hey everybody. So I've got my guest Chase on with me, and we're gonna pick up where we left off last week with the matchup. So we took a look last week at me and Chase. We took a look at Chet and Bridger, and then we took a look at Tom and Tyson here. So we're gonna start off now with Aaron and Johnny. Aaron, who I keep mixing up. I was just telling Chase I keep mixing up with Skylar because there's a Seahawks logo there.
Seahawk dinner.
Winter Seahawk dinner. And Johnny. So let me go ahead and we'll pull that up here. I brought Chase on because he took exception to my ragging
kickers
on...
are people too, man.
He took exception to my ragging on kickers, so I thought I'd bring him on for some expert kicker analysis.
That's right. I will give the honest opinion on the kickers.
No, Chase knows what he's doing. I feel like Chase and Johnny and Aaron, you guys kind of keep up with more of like the college aspect of fantasy a little bit more than I do. So it's nice to have that, you know, you see the sleepers better than I do. So
that's right.
All right, well, this is kind of an exciting one to start out with because we've got Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, two running quarterbacks. Really excited to see how this one plays out. Obviously, I had Lamar Jackson last year. It's pretty stacked against Johnny here, but what do you think about that, Chase?
I think it is kind of stacked against Johnny in that way. I heard on J. Will Zubin and Keyshawn this morning, Keyshawn Johnson thinks that Cliff Kingsbury is going to be out pretty quickly, like in the next few years, and that he's not going to, then Kyler Murray's just kind of going to be this, enigma bouncing from team to team. So I think that Kyler has a good ceiling. I really do. I think that's definitely his strong point. Against the San Francisco defense,
yeah,
that's going to be an uphill battle. But he did do a lot last year by himself. So, but Lamar Jackson against Cleveland, I think that's a big advantage.
Yeah, I agree. Kyler Murray, I think you hit it on the head. So, yeah, he's a young running quarterback, so the ceiling's always there. If he gets the running yardage, he's going to do well. But against San Francisco, that's going to be pretty tough to get. Where Lamar, especially where you can see here, it's the weather's going to potentially be bad there. I expect to see a lot of running out of him, and he does that really well. So I think that definitely Aaron's got an advantage there.
Yeah.
Now this is where things kind of tilt towards Johnny a little bit. Aaron's receiving core seems to be a little thin. Terry McLaurin, obviously he's going to do great, but I don't know how I feel about him as a wide receiver one. What do you think?
It's also difficult because they have given Dwayne Haskins the nod. At the same time, it's really difficult because how far has he come from last year? I'm not quite sure. And so, yeah, Tyreek Hill, I think, in this kind of a case, and especially against Houston defense, I think that gives Johnny a little bit of the edge there.
Yeah, and you say against Houston's defense, Houston's defense, that used to mean something, but not so much anymore.
No.
Yeah, so I think that Terry McLaurin is kind of a question mark. I don't know how well he's going to do. Philly's defense, it sounds like, is supposed to be at least okay. Um, so yeah, I think that Johnny has the advantage there. T.Y. Hilton versus Amari Cooper. Um, Couple more question marks here. I mean, obviously Amari Cooper a little more established there versus T.Y. Hilton, who is going to be, is it, shoot, who's their QB now? For,
Sorry, what was that?
their the QB for Indianapolis now is Philip Rivers, right?
Yeah, Philip Rivers. Uh-huh.
Yeah, a little bit more established quarterback there. I would say that T.Y. Hilton has a lot more stability than Amari Cooper, um, but Amari Cooper has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, and I think Dak too, in a contract year, and everything going on around that. I think, in my perspective, I see Jerry Jones saying, "Okay, Dak, go and be our savior," which kind of worries me because I have Zeke Elliott this year. But it's kind of a similar thing where they wanted, Russell Wilson, not Marshawn Lynch, to have all the glory kind of deal. And so I think this is kind of in the same vein. So I think Amari Cooper will do well just because I think that they'll want to throw the ball from Dak a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like you have to worry about Zeke. I mean, he's going to get the ball a lot.
I hope so.
Um,
That's
Hopefully,
selfish.
he won't get it so much this week because you're playing
Right.
me.
That's
But
right.
but I think that he'll be just fine.
That's right.
All right. Well, Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon. This one's pretty close. Carolina's defense, I don't think is going to be great. I actually have the Chargers defense, so I'm hoping that they do well against Joe Mixon. But this is where I feel like it's a little bit closer. Josh Jacobs seems like hasn't had the breakout quite yet, but he's done really well. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think in this case, I think Johnny got a really good um, bargain on Joe Mixon because he wasn't picked up for a long while, and so he picked him up probably in the later rounds where he probably shouldn't have been available. Um, Cincinnati's offense with Joe Burrow, a new quarterback, they're going to be relying on the run quite a bit to be able to kind of keep Joe Burrow in a rhythm. And of course, he has AJ Green. So Joe Mixon might get a good amount of touches since he has a rookie QB. Josh Jacobs working with Derek Carr. He's not going to be a secret this upcoming year. So people are going to be keying in on Josh Jacobs. But I think Josh Jacobs is a good pickup too, and I think he can be that RB1. Mm-hmm. So I think I would give a slight edge to Josh Jacobs, but it might be a wash.
Yeah, I do wonder also about the transition, if it might, affect things, them transitioning to Las Vegas, if there's other distractions going on there. So I don't know, that might take away from Jacobs just a little bit, but
yeah.
Let's take a look now. Jonathan Taylor and Ronald Jones. Jonathan Taylor is one that I really wanted to pick up, and kind of a name that has got some buzz around him. Ronald Jones, I feel like, is going to be affected by the Leonard Fournette situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Jonathan Taylor has a little bit of an edge there.
I think there was some smack talk going on in the chat room a little bit with Leonard Fournette dissing his old team.
Yes.
And we'll keep that probably in the chat room. I think for the first few games at least, Tampa Bay's gonna rely on Jones since he knows the playbook a little bit more. Jonathan Taylor being a rookie, Marlon Mack doing well last year. So I think that the matchup, even though the points say that the matchup favors Jonathan Taylor, I think Ronald Jones in week 1 against New Orleans, that might be a little bit of a wash because New Orleans defense isn't terribly bad. Jacksonville, They just lost Yannick Ngakoue. They lost, Jalen Ramsey. They've lost a ton of people off of that defense that was really good that went to the AFC championship against the Steelers, or was that NFC? But anyway, I think I give a slight edge to Ronald Jones, but this might be washed too.
Cool. Well, looking at tight ends, this is where it's a little bit lopsided. Um, we've got Jonnu Smith versus Zach Ertz. I mean, Zach Ertz is the established tight end. Jonnu Smith, I mean, he does have Ryan Tannehill at the helm now, right? Who I feel like is a more capable QB than Mariota was. So, I mean, he could do okay, but I think that Zach Ertz is definitely gonna have the edge here.
It definitely goes to Ertz in my mind too. Just the number of targets is enough to overwhelm you. I remember, I think it was a game against you last year or sometime who I was playing. Zach Ertz was playing on Monday night. Got a ton of targets, ton of catches, and blew me out of the water that last day. And I went in with a small lead, but he just totally blew me away. So Jonnu Smith coming in for Delaney Walker, replacing him as the starting tight end. Again, Tennessee's offense, I think, is more geared toward AJ Brown. So I think that's going to hurt Jonnu Smith's fantasy value just a tad bit.
All right. Well, in the flex, we've got, is it Chris Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb.
CD. Oh, that's right. CeeDee.
Yeah, Aaron was saying this is going to be his big secret weapon, taking over Amari Cooper. So we'll see.
We'll see
here.
We'll see. Taking on Jarvis Landry, who has been, it seems, a little bit mediocre, especially with old Baker Mayfield, who has also been not as good as people wanted him to be.
Yep.
So I don't know. It seems like. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Both are facing pretty hard defenses too.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb against the Rams, and Jarvis Landry against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore Ravens is like a top 5 defense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's both of them are kind of on an uphill climb. I think I would give a tad bit more of a edge to Landry in this matchup, just because Lamb is also a rookie wide receiver.
Right. Right. And then this is the moment we've been waiting for.
Here we go.
The kicker matchup here, Brandon McManus and Zane Gonzalez. Tell me what you got.
Okay, so Denver's got the game at home against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense, again, kind of middle of the pack, I think. McManus in altitude, at altitude can hit. He's hit 60-something before at altitude. He's got a big leg, can really, really kick it. So Arizona, again, against the San Francisco defense, that's a tough matchup. Gonzalez is actually a decent kicker, pretty reliable. So he might be able to get a few opportunities for field goals in this game. I think and then San Francisco, of course, being a really good defense, they gave up the fourth fewest points to kickers last year, it says. I would definitely give this edge to McManus in this matchup.
Cool. Well, let's take a look here. We got the defense, obviously, Buffalo versus the Jets. I mean, I understand the spread there. Minnesota versus Green Bay. It seems like Green Bay. I mean, Minnesota's a good defense, but Green Bay, obviously, a high-powered offense. So, I mean, anything to add on that?
Does have the advantage here. It's against the New York Jets, too, at home. I think they're going to really take it. Minnesota's a good defense, and they're at home, but Aaron Rodgers is the wild card factor there. And Devontae Adams, he's got a really great receiving core and also a good running game. So I think I give a little bit of the edge to Buffalo. I know Johnny's not gonna like that at all.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's take a look at the bench here, see if there's anything interesting that we want to comment on. I am personally really interested to see how AJ Green does. I mean, obviously he's incredible, but has had some injury issues. So it'll be cool to see how he does. Other than that, Johnny always seems to reach pretty deep here. I mean, we've got low projections, names, that I really haven't. I mean, I've heard of Duke Johnson and Christian Kirk, but ones that I wouldn't have targeted. What do you think?
Actually, is that Duke Johnson or David Johnson?
That's Duke because I have David
Ah,
Johnson.
there you go. Perfect. So yeah, I think Duke Johnson is very interesting because he knows the playbook in Houston. So that might be somebody that could definitely be a little bit more of a come. And of course, Christian Kirk, one of the returning wide receivers against San Francisco, though. We'll see about that. And then Damian Harris is going to have to get rid of him because he went on IR the other day. So Justin Jefferson, that's very interesting from LSU last year, and Joe Burrow and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see another and Henry Ruggs. Aaron's kind of going after quite a few of the rookie receivers. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong about Duke Johnson because like I said, I have David Johnson. So, and then Christian Kirk. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins just got paid, right? So, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna fade into the background or take like a Will Fuller to DeAndre Hopkins at Houston type of role. But yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, and I also I mean, I have to give a shout out to David Johnson because he was the one that took me to the championship a few years ago. It's kind of crazy how some of these have kind of come down a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty serious regression at Arizona, so I'm hoping that it was just kind of result of circumstances beyond his control. Maybe I don't know.
mm-hmm.
All right, well, so now we're taking a look at my friend Shane, Duke Silver, which is a great name, and yeah, so Shane and Skyler. So a couple more running QBs. Russell Wilson, not so much recently, but let me scoot this down so we're not covering. There we go. Josh Allen versus the Jets, and Russell Wilson versus the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, this is a pretty good matchup as well. Josh Allen, kind of more of a runner. Russell Wilson, more of a mature QB at this point, versus a couple of subpar defenses. How do you think we're going to look there?
I think I give a slight edge to Russell Wilson in this one. And the reason is because he actually has DK Metcalf this year, Tyler Lockett. Of course, all I have to do is just run down the list, and they're all there. But I think Russell gets him out of jams. He did get Stephon Diggs in the offseason. Good capture, good pickup.
I didn't know
there
that.
is, yeah. So that's a decent pickup for him, and then of course they have a few other receivers. I think I'm trying to remember I think it starts with Z. Anyway, but I think it's going to be a good matchup. I give a slight edge to Russell Wilson.
Nice. Yeah, and just kind of a quick comment before we dive into the rest of it. Skyler was trying to say in the group me that he only had 4 Seahawks, and I did a little math, a little calculation here
on the defensive side.
And let's see if it's still the same. But he had 7 Seahawks including the defense. Last I counted, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Greg Olsen. 5 Seattle defense. Let's see. 6,
and
7.
David Moore, yeah,
So
Carlos
what I
Hyde.
will say is that he overall has the kind of team that I really like. I normally will go wide receiver light and running back heavy, just kind of for the stability there. So taking aside the fact that if this Seahawks tank, he's totally screwed. He's got a pretty good team. So
Yeah, yep.
looking at Michael Thomas, Tyler Lockett. See, this is what I'm talking about. Tyler Lockett is a great wide receiver. Is he a top tier wide receiver one this year? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Michael Thomas definitely is wide receiver number one. And it doesn't matter who's throwing in the ball, whether it be Taysom Hill or Drew Brees, but they're going to look for him early and often. He gets his touches. I think luckily they got over the issue of Alvin Kamara, and I think they're working towards something there. So I think you bring back a great offense that has stability. Tyler Lockett is coming back too, but in the same sense, I don't know if I'd call Tyler Lockett number
Yeah.
one with DK Metcalf out there.
Yeah,
So I think Michael Thomas in
I
this
think
one.
personally, I think I put DK Metcalf in the same tier as Tyler Lockett. I feel like DK Metcalf might even have a little bit more by way of the physicality. He's a really big guy. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously,
Yep.
Will Fuller. I have ridden the Will Fuller train before.
So have I, and I've been bit by it many times.
I don't know if he's ever played a full season.
I don't think he has.
He's
Even at Notre Dame, he didn't play a
Yeah.
full season.
He's crazy fast. All he needs is one 60-yard touchdown, and that takes care of your whole
But
week.
then that 60-yard run turns into a pulled hammy, and then he's out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, the way I've heard it said is that he runs. He is faster than his hamstrings. Like he just outruns his hamstrings.
That is an excellent analogy. Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I think that he'll have a couple of great games. He is the number one there for Deshaun Watson now.
Yes, he is.
But let's take a look down at the running backs here. So James Conner, Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, James Conner is going to be great. He's a running back one playing the Giants. He's going to have a great game. Christian McCaffrey, of course, is just on a whole other level.
Is the all everything for the Carolina Panthers.
He is their entire receiving core and running back core. He's unstoppable. So he's going to get monster points out of this. I do feel like I think I said this in a previous video, but I feel like these running backs who have the potential to score crazy amounts of points see their week to week average a little bit inflated sometimes.
Yep.
So I don't know, he could score 40 points. He could score 8 to 10 points.
Right.
So it kind of affects things a little bit, I think. But
and they have Teddy Bridgewater as their new quarterback in Carolina. I think that is definitely a good pickup for them too, and they'll be looking. I mean, if a rookie, undrafted, quarterback that they used last year can do it, then I think that'll be good for Christian McCaffrey this year.
Yeah, and then so we've got a couple of top tier running backs, and then we got a little bit of a drop off here for Shane. Chris Carson I had last year. He is always going to get at least 10 points. I was lobbying pretty hard to get Skylar to trade me Carson because I really like him. I had him last year.
Yeah.
He's a great workhorse running back. Even though he dropped the ball a few times last year, I don't care. I think he's going to be fantastic, especially at a running back 2 slot there.
Yep, I think so too. Cam Akers being new in LA, I think they'll be more apt to lean on Jared Goff this year, since they don't have necessarily that number one, unless Cam Akers just stuns out of nowhere. But I think they'll be using Jared Goff much more.
Now, flipping things pretty dramatically here, we've got Travis Kelce versus Greg Olson. Travis Kelce versus Houston. I'm really excited for that game. We'll talk about that more in the next matchup here, but I think he's going to be just fine in that game.
Yep.
Whereas Greg Olson, I don't even know, is he still alive? Like, is he?
He's definitely an old man. I mean, going from Carolina, and then I think he ended up somewhere else last year. I'm trying to remember where. But yeah, now going to Seattle, that's very interesting. I mean, being a veteran does have its pluses, and he'll. I mean, all they all say Pete Carroll is a player's coach, so they'll coach him up real good and keep him going.
My my guess, my prediction here is that he'll get 5 points. I think that he'll get 5 points every week, and he'll be an okay tight end, and that is it. That's all.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the flex spot now. This is where Skyler's running back heavy strategy, I feel like, is going to pay off for him. I mean, Aaron Jones, it seems like I was reading, he's working on getting a deal right now, I think.
Yeah, I think he is too.
So he's got something to play for, and he's the number one guy. Tyler Boyd is he's got Joe Burrow now, who is a big question mark, right? So yeah, I think Skyler's definitely got an edge there.
I think so too, and I mean that Aaron Jones was good for, and again they just have, or Jordan Love, Utah State homer, but I think they have a lot of weapons there, so I think it's gonna be good.
Awesome. Tell me about these two kickers.
Okay, Greg the Leg Zerline going over to Dallas this year, and playing against his former team, the LA Rams.
Yep.
Greg has a great leg, and of course he'll be familiar with the field. Josh Elliott's been in Philadelphia for a few years now. Pretty decent kicker. Every once in a while, he'll get a stoinker or not look
A
so
stoinker,
good.
is that the technical term?
That is the technical term, stoinker. But I give the advantage to Greg the Leg in this matchup.
Cool. Well, let's see. Green Bay playing Minnesota and Seattle playing the Falcons. I mean, it's hard to really put anything. I don't know how great Minnesota's offense is going to be this year. Don't know how great Green Bay's defense is going to be. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to put any analysis on this. But what do you think?
I think actually, Seattle's defense is touted to be the real deal. Of course, again, Bobby Wagner, total homer, Utah State, but they have, I think it's the number 2 or number 1 rated linebackers in the league. Corners are looking pretty good. They got, what's his name, from Detroit. I think last year, mid to late season. I don't think it was Slay. I think it was the other guy. And Green Bay made some really good additions too. They got better last year as time went on. I think I give the edge though slightly to Seattle in this game, in this matchup. I mean.
All right, let's see if there's anything interesting on the bench here. Jordan Howard for Miami. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Miami does. They've got Fitzpatrick again. Dumpster fire. He's still kind of fun to watch.
Right.
Even when he's throwing 5 or 6 picks, he's just such an animated and kind of funny goofball of a guy. I don't know. I hope he sticks around for a while. I know he's getting kind of old, but
I think Tua's going to take over there pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's going to be cool to see too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have heard that name, and I don't really follow college very much.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Anything else really interesting here? Julian Edelman. You know,
I
and
heard he might have picked up a knee injury in practice today.
oh, okay. Let's take a look
Um,
here.
yeah, so or he was limited in practice, but uh, maybe it was just something small.
Yeah,
But I
limited.
don't think it's too something to worry about.
Okay. Yeah, because I am excited to see how well he does with the Cam Newton era upon us.
Yep. If Shane's open to a trade later on, I mean, he's got a great backup tight end. I hear that a lot of things that Evan Ingram could be a breakout candidate this year. So, Shane, that might be something you want to look out for.
Yeah, Evan Ingram. I mean, he's definitely got the talent for sure.
Yes. Yep.
So, all right. Well, let's move on here then. We're gonna do our last matchup, which is Joe, my neighbor, Jovid
COVID
19,
19.
and Zach, which is Skylar's friend. He was in the league last year as well. I am most excited about, and that is Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, who coincidentally play each other actually tomorrow.
There you go.
They're gonna duel it out. I think that Kansas City's defense has gotten better for sure, but I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know if I don't know if they're still a top tier defense. So I think this will be a little bit of a shootout.
I think signing Frank Clark definitely helped them in the offseason. I think that'll help shore up that defensive line. But I mean, like you said, it's going to be a shootout. And the crazy thing is that I think Deshaun Watson could get all 22 points in the fourth quarter. He could just be letting you down all game long, and then all of a sudden throw for 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and get y'all those 22 points. He's the heart attack comeback kid, basically. So, yeah, we'll see about those additions to his offense and stuff like that. But that's
Yeah.
that's kind of my analysis, and it's kind of crazy what he can do.
Yeah, and Pat Mahomes has done that to us, had done that to me as a fan in the past. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
come from behind victories is something that both of these guys have under their belt now.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really really excited about that one. Um, yeah, Odell Beckham. So the whole wide receiver core here seems to be a tier below for these guys. Maybe with the exception of Mike Evans. Um, with Tom Brady there now, he could see a boost. But I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing that really jumps out at me with these four.
It's kind of crazy. I think Odell is the guy that wants the ball all the time. I think Baker looked for him just every time, and that really hurt him last year.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that Kareem Hunt was Instagramming this morning that he was getting close to a deal with Cleveland. So, I mean, that's definitely going to help him in the long run. Again, I'm very interested to see Mike Evans in the Tampa Bay offense because, they said this morning on the radio that basically when you put together a team like this in the offseason and you try to get all the pieces together, it usually doesn't come out to be anything. And that's what Tampa Bay's done this offseason is they've gone out and got a lot of different pieces.
They just kind of hodgepodged it all together.
Be what, Tom Brady's made out other offenses to be in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have an interest now. I've got Leonard Fournette burning a hole in my bench, and I would like to see him do really well there.
Yeah,
And I feel like he
and
could.
and I have Godwin. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of secretly hoping that Evans is on the DL. Godwin's a little bit more in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady throws enough and is good enough that he could support both of them,
Yeah.
as really top tier players. But it remains to be seen, I think, how it's going to go.
Yep.
And then AJ Brown at Tennessee has a boost with Tannehill, but also kind of a question mark there, a little bit boom or bust. Stephon Diggs with the new team, with Josh Allen, right, is their quarterback.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him do well because I like him.
And Josh Allen can throw the ball down the field. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, which could be good for him. Maybe not
Yeah.
this week with the bad weather there, but
Yep.
maybe.
And I think AJ Brown going against Denver. Um, Note on that, I might have to change my defense because Von Miller came down with that.
Right.
It wasn't a meniscus tear; it was something else. But apparently, that's a little bit of a long recovery. So, you know, that might help AJ Brown out a bit.
I might have to sneeze here in a minute.
Okay. I think I would give actually a little bit of the edge to Stephon Diggs in this case because they're going against the New York Jets, whose defense is not something to look at. So
Yeah, I think that definitely Diggs has a higher floor for sure than AJ
Yep.
Brown. I think that maybe the 12.99 is a little inflated by AJ Brown's potential ceiling.
I think so.
So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yep.
All right, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, couple of very top tier running backs. Dalvin Cook versus Green Bay. You talked about Green Bay's defense being a little bit better. It is interesting to me that Dalvin Cook still has such a high projection against them.
Again, I think it has to go with Kirk Cousins. He still has Adam Thielen, but of course, Stephon Diggs goes in the offseason. Now they have Justin Jefferson, the rookie wide receiver from LSU. I just think that they are, and they've made no qualms about it. Their head coach has said, we're going to run the ball to set up the offense, to set up the pass. So I think they know that that's the expectation. So they're going to go to Dalvin Cook to set up that pass and pretty early and often. So
he's going to have that extra baseline with the throwing, the receiving game. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, if either Kareem Hunt or any of the other running backs touch the ball in Cleveland and it's against Baltimore, whose defense is great, I think I give that one to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I mean, the projection certainly agrees with you there.
Yep.
Well, let's take a look. Mark Ingram, Todd Gurley. Mark Ingram, I think that I personally am going to lean towards Mark Ingram a little bit on this, just with Todd Gurley. Ingram is ingrained in the Baltimore offense already. Gurley changing teams and his history of injury. I mean, he's got, again, kind of a higher ceiling there potentially, and that's why his projection's inflated, but I think that Ingram ends with more points.
Okay, so I think with Todd Gurley, he is the north and south runner that Atlanta's been looking for a few years. I think, Devontae Freeman, who they still have, and that's a good backup, but his style is much more east-west, trying to juke people. Once he hits the hole, he's pretty good at going north-south, but Todd Gurley, that's basically almost all he knows is following his O-line. But again, I think with Mark Ingram, being on that Baltimore offense, he's the number one guy. I think, with Lamar Jackson being that quarterback, he's going to be looking for that running game again as well. So I think they've got something good there. So I think I give the actual edge to Mark Ingram in that matchup.
Yeah, and he's also, I mean, I don't know, I didn't hear you cover this, but he's also playing Seattle,
Yeah,
crazy defense, so
yeah,
that you talked
pretty
about
good.
earlier. So,
Bobby Wagner.
well, so then as far as the tight ends go, nothing, well, I was going to say nothing too exciting, but Darren Waller, he actually is probably one of the only exciting pieces on their offense right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think, I mean, Darren Waller, I had him last year in this league, and really surprising, breakout player. Hayden Hurst, he might be a little bit more behind Mark Andrews in that offense, and so his touches, I mean, apparently he catches a lot of stuff, but I think Darren Waller actually probably will be the more used. Again, the frustrating or crazy thing about Darren Waller is that he can be kind of that late production or even garbage time tight end. That's how he got some of his points last year before they pulled everybody out. So, but I think I do give Darren Waller a little bit more of the edge here.
Well, Keenan Allen and is it Marquise Brown?
Marquise Brown, yeah,
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Keenan Allen. I am interested to see how he does. I think that this is a pretty good pickup, pretty good flex spot player. Who do they have under center now?
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, that's right, Tyrod Taylor.
With what's his name from Oregon, Herbert, waiting in the wings kind of deal. I think they were going to kind of have Tyrod mentor him, and so that could possibly be the next step for Herbert is starting for the Chargers. But for now, it's Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, definitely. I'm going to err on the side of Hollywood here. I had Lamar Jackson last year, and I have a little more faith in him, I would say, especially versus, well, I guess they're playing Cincinnati, so
yeah,
that could, I mean, I don't know, that could be closer than maybe I think.
Yeah, I think in this case, I mean, Keenan Allen with a new quarterback, he's going to be going to Keenan Allen, I think, a lot more, just because, like, if you're looking for the long ball, then it's Mike Williams. But I think in this case, Keenan Allen is going to see the lion's share. Of course, Hunter Henry, I'm hoping he gets quite a few touches there too, be a safety blanket. And then sometimes, at least in my recollection, Marquise Brown had some games where it was like, third quarter, fourth quarter, they hadn't thrown anything. And then he all of a sudden throws it to him for like 50-yard pass or something like that because they've been running all game long. So
yeah.
In that case, I think I might give it also to Marquise Brown just by, again, the projection says a hair in this one. So I go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that maybe Hollywood has a higher ceiling because he is kind of that bomb touchdown type of guy.
Yep.
Where Keenan, I think you're right. I think they're going to force feed Keenan Allen a little bit. He's the one that's always crying about not getting enough passes coming his way, and maybe with a younger quarterback, maybe he'll get the passes he wants. So
yep. And then we got the kickers. So Dan Bailey, a good kicker from the years past in Dallas, went to Minnesota, I think, 2 years ago. Had that stoink actually against Seattle in the playoffs that, or maybe he just missed it wide left, but I think he's a pretty solid kicker all the way around. And then Jason Myers, I think he's been with Seattle for the past few years as well. Actually, I would say that this is probably more in favor of Myers because the Seattle offense takes a little bit of time to click. Minnesota's offense, if Kirk Cousins can't lead them down into the red zone or close, then Dan Bailey might not get the opportunity. So I think I give it to Jason Myers.
yeah, I think I would agree with that just based on the simple fact that games against Atlanta tend to turn into shootouts a little bit. I
Yep.
haven't looked at the over/under on that game, but generally they're a high-powered offense, and so
Yep.
they end up throwing the ball down the field, both teams, and so you might see more points for a kicker there.
Right.
Chicago versus Kansas City here. Chicago playing Detroit, Kansas City playing Houston. It is interesting to me that Kansas City's projection is so high here. The over/under on that game, I think, is almost 55 points.
Right. Yeah.
So, a lot of
I think for Kansas City, I think it's just that they kill everybody by scoring so many points, and then once it's almost like break and serve. Once they finally get you turned over, or score a lot of points, and then get you turned over on a 4 and out or 3 and out or something like that, then they're off to the races. It's in those close games that they kind of, okay, who's going to blink first, and that might cause some points to be lost.
Well, let's take a look at the bench, see if there's anything interesting here to finish up. Zach Moss. Oh, he's got Tom Brady as a backup. Not a bad little consolation prize there.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard. Yeah. Cam Newton.
Yep.
I wanted Cam Newton. I wanted to get him in both of my leagues that I'm in, and I got him in neither. I ended up with Carson Wentz in both leagues, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am definitely interested in that exact same thing. Tom Brady, 43. How's he gonna fare? How with all the new weapons, and then Cam Newton. Yeah, can he recreate 2015 MVP season? Almost coming very close to winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing to have those guys on your bench, and I kind of thought the same thing almost, that Tom Brady would be a good backup, but usually I don't usually have a QB on the bench. They usually try to go more wide receiver and tight end and running back in that way, so it's very interesting.
One note on Randall Cobb. I do feel like there was an injury. I remember Brandon Cooks.
Yes, that's right.
Is injured, and I was watching the Fantasy Footballers podcast, and they feel like that a lot of that work is going to funnel to Randall Cobb. So it'd be interesting to see, if he scores a bunch of points on the bench there.